So with that, we'll get started into the rounds, see how it goes. There's always a certain element of RNG, just depending on how the turns end. Generally, you don't want Sander on cooldown, or you want him available, I should say, going into the next floor every time, because he will be the thing that delays the mechanic that could wipe you or just make things much more difficult. So here we have the first room. It's a couple burst towers, which just buff up the things around them. It's Serra who does Serra things. The reason I like to take her out first is because obviously she's at 0 cooldown, and if she casts her special, which increases everyone's defense by 115 attack, she has 20. It adds a lot more defense that most of your characters can't punch through, on top of the 2 backline already being really tanky. So she's generally the first to die. Mira is the one that puts reflect on everything, which is obnoxious. It is the way it is. You can negate it if you have Dark Yang, which is one of the reasons he gets recommended, among others, as well as assassins or anyone that can ignore reflex defense. Celeste will mostly just tank everything while she's alive due to her 100% intercept chance, which seems to be up way too much. But really, these two are less of an issue than Serra. If Serra gets her cast off, you might as well just restart the fight. It's just easier, or unless you have some way to strip off the defense, because most of your characters just don't have the punch to go through there, and you'll burn out your turns, which you are limited to. Razors are razors, they're just going to spew daggers next turn. So as always with Serra, the first thing you have to do is cast her special, because now you actually have some health or some EHP. Everyone's up to like 22k defense, which should negate the majority of the damage, barring smash attacks. Next up, Serra's getting ready to cast, so this is where Sander is useful. Since he ignores intercept, he will do his thing and make sure she doesn't get a cast. From here, I like to start spinning up Lady Sun, even though, well, one, because I have a couple turns on Serra now from Sander's stun, and also I can just keep her stun locked with Sandor. Whereas getting Lady going is just DPS on the room. Takes a little bit to get going, but she does do work. Now that it's back to my turn. Try to hit Serra. If you eviscerate, she's gone. In this case, she lived. It's unfortunate. So yeah, a few more skill points would have been enough. I generally don't use the reflex defense when I'm running Serra, only because I have fat-fingered it while tapping the buttons and done an action right after, which, depending on your timing, can be an issue. But as you can see, most things aren't hurting, so that's a good sign. It means that Serra has enough of a shield and that you shouldn't be taking any damage outside of particular mechanics, like Ferris. If she gets her special off and she doesn't have any attack debuff on her, you're probably going to wipe right there. Anytime that Lady is available, I just give her another round of Hail of Bullets. If things go well, she drills shots into Serra. Not always the case. There's certain elements of our RNG that just happen. You can have the right team and still lose. It's just the way it goes. So from here, you just kind of take a quick look at the battle. Really not much is happening. Serra has a few more turns, but you can see that the room is currently on light, so it would be a good time to cast. It's locked for 2 turns. So she has 2 turns where she could cast basically her special for free. So it gives you a bit more of a window, especially as she's the commander for mana regen, because she'll recover X amount of mana. For me, I think it's 20. So it can just be something to consider for priority. Karn, he's just here. I could use a special, but it wouldn't really do much because he's rather underpowered for what I've put into him. So I just put him on tower duty. And it doesn't really matter because, as shown, Celeste will just intercept it. We got one turn left on the light lock, so it's a good time to refresh Serra's shield. It doesn't cost, or it doesn't use the turn, or it doesn't end the turn. So you always have two actions. With Serra getting that close, it would be worth crippling her once. And again, if given a choice like this, I would always spin up Lady Sun. It'll go through her mana faster, but there's green sneaks in the shop right now, and you're probably going to need 2 to 3 sneaks depending on your account level and how much mana regen perks you have. If Lady gets a lucky string of crits like that, it does things, well, it makes things go faster. Like I said, CTL doesn't add a lot on her regular, or especially in this room. I could have stunned Serra, but it wouldn't have really changed all that much. It would have been a harder hit, but it's kind of moot. Serra still has 4 turns, so now you have choices on what you want to do. I always, since Lady doesn't seem to really have any targeting, when she's running Hail of Bullets, or she just picks random targets, I figure eliminating other targets is always a good chance. Celine, or eliminating other targets increases the chance of her putting more rounds into high priority targets. And since I don't really want to keep using mana on, or with Sander to stun Serra, we will just make her go away. As you can see, I haven't really done a lot of DPS outside of, or used a lot of DPS outside of Lady and Celine. Lady will still clean up the room. As you're getting closer to the end of the room, you want to be more aware of where your cooldowns are, because you don't want to be going into the next floor with Sandra on cooldown, because Ferris will wipe you in 1 turn, or CTL. You could try using CTL, it could reflect. If it shouldn't reflect, they fixed it, so they say. But this is where I would use things for Karn, so he just is on tower duty. Lady's low, spin her back up. And we're on to the next room. Things look good. I have 1 charge for my pets. As I said, sneaks are the ideal thing. It's what you'll probably use most of the time. You can use other ones. It's just what I'm using to try to keep it as consistent as possible for people that don't have a wide variety of pets. But your 2 stunners are off cooldown. Things look good. You can, in cases like this, where there's a couple gems, just pop them to push the turn, and now you have an almost full team going into the next room. So with this room, the big things are obviously Ferris. With her, the Skybreaker, it does a lot of damage. I mean, she has 31k attack, 250. Yeah, it's enough to overwhelm Serra's defense. So your options are either stun her, shank her, or reduce her attack enough that it's a non-issue. This is one of the bigger elements of our RNG in the room, because you have to kill her one way or the other. This is actually why I like CTL, is she will slowly chip away at her potentially, so that all your other heroes do not have to put so many rounds into killing her. because they will just get stunned into a coma, which can put you in a bad position for room 3. I don't even know what she does, really. She's just obnoxious and she's hard to hit. Lady Sun will pop them as needed. These are just summoning towers. You'll start seeing as you take out these trash mobs, they get replaced with other trash mobs, which CTL deals with. They're low, or since they're minions, they can't do smash attacks, so that's less of a worry. Now, the big concern with something like this is with Lady, she spreads nature terrain from hail of bullets or lightning reflexes. So the issue with that is if she starts hitting things in your front line, the nature terrain can bleed onto your heroes, and then she attacks, and since she's ice, she does a smash attack, or water, she does a smash attack onto them, and that's how you get mysterious deaths, because there's really nothing in the room aside from Ferris that can get through Serra's shield. So same song and dance, pick Ferris, stunner, just keep Lady spun up, see the room's lit for a while to light, which means lots of chance to refresh Serra as needed. I'm just going to, because I forgot when I did it last. And then from here, if you have a choice like this, she's going to do whatever. I would probably go with assassinating or trying to assassinate Ferris first, just to relieve some pressure. If she eviscerates, she'll take a good chunk out of her, or kill her. In this case, she still takes off like half her health. In retrospect, you could have spun up Lady Sun just for more. Now you just take a quick look. Sanders up. Ferris is at 1, so she's probably worth hitting. And his passive also stacks with his active, so that's why she goes up to +7 turns, because if they're under 50%, it stuns for 3 turns, and then his special is stun for 3 to 4 turns. So you can get a really good window. Karn, he's just going to be on tower duty. It's depressing, but it is what it is. I'm sure I could use his ult, but he's so underskilled that it would go off once and he would be pretty much out of mana. It would help clear out some of the trash, so I may wait for it to for the room to fill up, because your DPS is a little bit lower as you're clearing out other things, and the room will fill up with imps, but imps don't have a ton of hit points, so Karn can actually kill them. If there's really nothing pressing to kill or to stun, like in this case, I would light shield, more health, never hurts. And you'll see that you have Frozen Monarch or Ferris. If you hit Frozen Monarch due to her passive, 1 damage, stun attackers for 3 turns. That can throw things way off. So in this case, if I were to hit her with Sander, he would be on cooldown for 6 turns? 7? 7 turns. 6 or 7 turns, either way. Which would be long enough for Ferris to cast her special and wipe your party. So in the case of these two, go for Ferris. You can still see in the back that Ferris has a full mana bar, because I haven't dropped a sneak, and she hasn't cast anything, so she's still a threat, even though she hasn't really done a lot. So the room will slowly fill up with minions, which are less of an issue. Lady Sun will gun them down slowly. One nice thing is this week, I want to say it was, I'm already fuzzy on it, is that we had a light sneak in store. which can be helpful because if you summon them on the same color match, they restore more mana. So in this case, it's blue. I wouldn't mind some mana. Not that I really need it, but it couldn't hurt, and I don't really have anything else to do this turn. So I'm going to summon my blue one. And as you can see, they all got back whack load of mana. So we're good to go. We're still in really good shape. Nothing's needing stabilizing or triaging. Celine can just continue. Oh, there's an eviscerate. To hammer on Ferris. Yeah, when it goes off, it's a lot of damage, especially as the room's packed in. So now you're basically left just with the Frozen Monarch, and a whole bunch of imps and trash. You just take a look at your crew. There's probably a good chance that you're going to be spending a few more turns clearing trash, so it's safe to start poking Frozen Monarch, which I'm going to do, and actually stun her, because as you can see, all of my characters have Nature Train below them, so I don't want to be hit by the ice or by the water element, as that will usually result in sudden death of that character. It happens, and that's usually the reason. As you can see, CTL is stunned to who knows when, but she's still dropping things on the fight. That's why I like her. So it is chip damage. Like, it's not necessarily a ton of damage, but it adds up every turn. Now that or if you want to double check, like this is where Karn can be useful, is just double check your things. Like, she doesn't have any reflect. Imps, I'm sure, don't have yeah, they're scrubs. And Pirate Lady has dodge. So in this regard, if you want to make things faster, you could, well, first spin up Lady Sun. Wait for them to do their thing, which takes a while. And yeah, since Karn is kind of just filler to whatever, he has a long cooldown, it's safe to use it. If he eviscerates, yeah, he's okay, not going to do a whole lot. Really need to put more work into him. Or that's what I would suggest if you find your DPS is lacking somewhere, because he does do work. I just haven't put the effort into it. Not a whole lot to do. Just going to refresh Lady's shield, not that anything should really go wrong. The nice thing also with Lady Sun and Hail of Bullets is even if she starts getting heavily stunned by Frozen Monarch, as long as Hail of Bullets is running, she will also continue to fire. She's probably had enough fun if things go well. There. So yeah, even though Lady Sun does have a lot of turns left on her, the next room isn't as intense for damage. It'll probably be 2 rounds to kill both those. So this is where if you have another sneak, although it's a total waste, well, not a total waste, it's more just for jiggling the turns, or you look at what else you have, like, okay, nothing else is coming available, so even jiggling a turn wouldn't really matter. But Lady Sun's still doing her thing. Now this might be somewhere useful where you may want to summon a sneak, or any one casting cost thing, just to bump it so that Sandor is available. Although in room 3, it's not as critical. The big thing is that Serra isn't stunned for it, because there's going to be a lot of stuns next room. Dahlia is the main reason I don't run Celicia for my commander, although I think Celicia is amazing. That right there hurts way too much in conjunction with the light train she can put down on things. I don't know exactly what the combination is. All I know is it's always usually a death cascade of you res everything with Celicia, light wave or radiance happens, everyone dies, or most of them die. You try to res again, everything dies again, and by then, things have gone sideways. So with not much left in the room, I mean, just to go over everything, Celicia, she mass reses everything, gives everyone a bigger shield. Our boss is always a commander. You can check by seeing that they have a chevron over them. So you can assume their commander skill is running, and it also says active right there. How handy. Lancelot's mostly just intercept everything. They're going to throw up shield slam a lot, and then stun things as you attack. So it can take a while to whittle through them, but eventually, as you can see, with Celicia, her mana is only 150. Lifebringer costs 75, so the most she's going to res everything up is twice. So even if you can get through that part, you're in the clear. You can do things like summon a sneak, which I'm probably going to help drain the mana faster. The support towers just heal things. They'll die in time. Lady Sun as a friend's commander will hopefully be one-shotting the Lancelot. That's what she did before. I know I refresh, or it doesn't even really matter. I can refresh with Serra. And it's on light right now, so I'm going to drop a light sneak. Not that I necessarily need it, it just tops up my mana. Sneaks also make really good decoys and get hammered out of existence. But yeah, as you can see, that took off almost half her mana, so now she's down to one cast of reviving, which is a plus. You'll idly be sitting for a little bit as everyone's coming off cooldowns from the Frozen Monarch, from Lancelot's, things in general. Really the same idea. Dahlia does a lot. You have your choice. Like Celicia's at 9 turns, so she's going to be not doing anything for a while. Sander will be on cooldown, or he'll be able to be off cooldown twice. Dahlia's light wave still can hurt a little bit, so I'm just going to stun her because that's what I brought him for. Doesn't do any damage, but it's up to 6. Karn, this is really the only place I use him. And it's mostly just to get defense down on things and attack. Like her attack's a little bit lower, her defense is a little bit lower, which helps in the long run. Now for targets, you can pick whichever one you want. Given a choice like this, I know I just refreshed Serra, so I don't need to refresh her for at least a turn or two. Lady Sun is the one that's going to be plinking things off, so she would be my choice to start. As you can see, she just kind of pops Lancelot's one at a shot. Celicia will be the bigger annoyance of the two. Even though she can heal, just by spiking her down in damage, it forces her to heal. That until Lady is... Oh, yeah, Eviscerate. It just isn't the same amount of damage to Dahlia until Lady has gotten a chance to reduce that armor. I have really nothing else to do, so I'm going to use Lady, kind of let things go. As you can see, it gets a little bit slower, but I have lots of turns left. Everyone's stunned, but Lady keeps firing because Hail of Bullets is running, which is awesome. Sander at this point is alive, which is actually kind of amazing. It's the first time for everything. It's because I switched Sander and CTL's position. But again, Dahlia could potentially do something. So I'm just going to stun her. Lady wipes up the room. This is where I can show you that Celine doesn't do a whole lot to Dahlia right now unless she eviscerates. So it almost might be worth hitting the towers first, but Dahlia has a lot of hit points. Yeah, 2 million. And we don't have the Lady Sun that can chip through everything. Like, I know that I recently refreshed, but I'm high on mana, so I'm just going to keep casting the shield. Is the best thing? Yeah. I could be attacking the towers, but for this run, I don't want to take that chance because I know this works. And then, yeah, no, this is basically just cleanup. The towers are going to keep healing, so this is where you just start wasting, not wasting, but using these guys to clean it up. I'm just going to see now, because I kind of made a mistake there, a misplay, by letting Dahlia keep going instead of stunning her. That would have been the correct play. But as you can see, light wave really hasn't been any sort of issue at all. Karn is going after tower duty. Lady Sun is just coming out of a coma, so that's a plus. And now we're just down to Dahlia. And now it's pretty just straightforward. Just let Lady Sun do her thing. She'll start stripping off chunks of armor, which means things like Celine will start doing more. She's still not under 50, but Sandor has lots of mana, so I'm just going to keep her stunned from doing anything. And that's really about it. That's the end of it. I know. I should probably be a little more mindful with my mana, because as you can see, she's not dying that quickly, but quickly enough that I'm confident uh, she'll keel out before I will. Karn was just useful there because it helped take down more of her armor. Like now she's at, yeah, minus 50,000 defense between Karn and Lady doing her thing. One thing is that the lower the defense gets and into the negatives, the more damage you do. I don't know the logic on it, but that's the way it works. And since now she's below 50%, if I hit her with Sandor, she'll probably go up to, yeah, 7 turns. And just, yeah, a couple more spin ups with Lady. And there we go. So that was the run. That was my logic. Obviously, I have more perks than people will be going through there, which will probably mostly translate to slightly longer turns. You still should be able to chew through most of the things. It just will take longer, and you may have to use more sneaks, as that was the biggest thing I found with Lady Sun's changes, is it just takes longer to kill things, and it's harder on mana. That's what you get for passing it, or finishing it. And that's it. Hopefully it'll help some people. Sorry it was a little longer than I wanted. The battles didn't go as fast. Say la vie. Poke me if you need anything. Cheers.